This day in Philly sports history is proud to be a part of the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network, where passionate fans make powerful content. Check out theclashingconferences.com and join the squad today. What's up, everyone? Welcome to This Day in Philly Sports History for July 7th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Monday edition of the podcast. And as we have been for the past couple Mondays, go out and be a shark today. It's Monday, it's hot, it's after a long holiday weekend, but go out and be a shark this weekend. Had a very, very busy weekend in Philly sports. Hope everyone had a wonderful 4th of July. Everybody was safe. Have all your fingers. Didn't do anything stupid. But as we always do on Mondays, let's rewind the weekend to see what we missed. Rewind the Weekend is brought to you by Philly Goat. Go to phillygoat.com. Use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. Lots of new shirts. So go scroll through the website and see what they have. And be sure to use that promo code to take 10% off. Good weekend for the Phils. 2 out of 3 over the Reds. Friday was kind of the dud, but they showed some fight in that, I guess. Luzardo had struggled with his command. They did chip away at it. However, though, the fight, they were getting chances, just were not able to knock in runners. They were 3 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Before the game, McAble was sent down to AAA, meaning Taijuan Walker is back in the starting rotation for the Phillies. Apparently, Andrew Painter is just not ready yet. So we'll see what happens with that. And it just, there's going to be, whenever Aaron Nola comes back, there's going to be a lot of big decisions to be made. So we'll see how it goes. Saturday, Ranger was outstanding, was on a little bit of a pitch count just to, I guess, save him. He was complaining about soreness, but he was solid. Bullpen held it down for them. Alec Boehm has been red hot. Went deep 5-1 for the Phillies on Saturday. And then yesterday was all about Zach Wheeler. And I think we don't appreciate Zach Wheeler enough. I talk all the time about Donovan and Ryan Howard being the most underrated, underappreciated athletes in Philly history. I think Zach Wheeler has definitely entered that conversation. And I think we are appreciating it, but man, it's just every fifth day, what you're going to get with him. A complete game, one hitter, struck out 12, just outstanding by Zach Wheeler. And I was looking at the stats. He's certainly in the Cy Young conversation. I think it's a two-player race between him and Paul Skeens. So we'll see what happens with that. After the game, Zach Wheeler and Kyle Schwarber were named to the All-Star team. No surprises there. Some people thought that maybe Trey got snubbed somewhat. Christopher Sanchez, Ranger. And I could see Sanchez. I think Ranger missing time definitely hurt him. Trey at the plate, yes. Still messing up somewhat in the field. But you could certainly make an argument. But likely Schwarber will be in the home run derby. Hopefully they give Zach Wheeler the start in his hometown there in Atlanta. That would be a cool story. Stott finally broke out and hit a homer yesterday. He's been struggling, but offensively, it was between Friday and yesterday. They struck out 14 times yesterday. 14 times. But did just enough with Zach Wheeler on the mound. They're out to the West Coast. One of the worst weeks of the year. No shot I'm watching any of these games this week. Maybe I think Thursday or Wednesday's game is an afternoon game, so maybe I'll be able to catch that. But I hate West Coast baseball. I say it all the time, but I hate when they're out on the West Coast. It's too late. Christopher Sanchez goes tonight, Taijuan Walker tomorrow, and then Jesus Luzardo looks to bounce back this week. But overall, good weekend for the Phils. Mets lost too, so there's a game and a half lead. They lost a half a game through last week. No harm, no foul. They never play well in San Francisco, so hopefully maybe they can take 2 or 3 from there and then go back out to San Diego, take 2 out of 3, and start extending that lead. Because the Mets are in Tom Petty free falling mode right now. Union suffered their second straight loss on Saturday, 1-0 over Nashville. Close game throughout, gave up the game-winning penalty kick in the 101st minute. So they were right there, just couldn't get anything going offensively. They've now dropped to third in the standings. And then a busy week for them this week as they have back-to-back games against the New York Red Bulls down at Subaru Park. First game is their round of 16 matchup for the U.S. Open Cup, and then their regular MLS game on Saturday. Sixers Summer League kicked off. VJ Edgecombe the other night looked outstanding, scored 28 on 13 for 27 shooting, added 10 rebounds, looked really good. And I love this because it's Summer League, and they interviewed him, and he was like, yeah, that's all well and good, but we lost the game. I think he's coming in with that was the right pick. He's coming in with the right mindset, and even though it's Summer League, he's worried about winning. And that, I think, is part of the reason why they drafted him. He's coming in with the right mindset, and I talked about it a couple years ago when Doc Rivers got fired, and he said there was just it's losing culture, losing sort of aura around that team. So maybe guys like VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, those high energy guys will be able to start changing that culture. Adem Bonham had 16 and 8. Justin Edwards and Johnny Broom also had 13 each. So a good start for Summer League. You can't put too much stock in it, but just the way VJ Edgecombe played, I'm looking forward to him once the season starts. If you want to watch them, they are on ESPN tonight out in Utah, I think is where this Summer League is. The big one is the Vegas one, and I believe that is next week. But good start for VJ Edgecombe here in Summer League. And then an interesting interview with Gershon Yabusele. He did say that the Sixers made him an offer, but it was very, very, very low. He wouldn't have been opposed to coming back. And I think essentially what they said was, look, we were trying to fit it all in under the cap, and with our plans, here you go. He didn't take it really as disrespect. He just said it was very, very low compared to what the Knicks offered him. So I thought that was an interesting take. Kind of thought that he was going to be the guy that they brought back, but it just did not happen that way. But Sixers in action tonight, Summer League, to get your basketball fixed. And I'll be on the courts tonight, too, as my kids kick off Summer League over at the park. Excited for that. A little 3-on-3 action for 6 weeks for them. All right, what happened this weekend in Philly sports history? Well, July 5th, back in 1953, Philly split a doubleheader with the Pirates. They won game one 2-0. Robin Roberts pitched his 28th consecutive complete game. Let that sink in for a minute. 28 consecutive complete games. The modern record is 36 set by Bob Feller. But to kind of put that into more perspective, last year in all of Major League Baseball, there were 28 complete games total. And here's Robin Roberts over the course of 2 seasons doing 28 consecutive. Just pitchers were built different back then. And then on July 6th, back in 2009, Phillies beat the Reds 22-1. It was the largest margin of victory in team history. Shane Victorino tied a team record, scoring 5 runs. And that is the weekend, or Rewind the Weekend, brought to you by Philly Goat. Good weekend for the Phils. Union looked to bounce back, but VJ Edgecombe, to me, was the story of the weekend. Actually, I take that back. Zach Wheeler, of course, was the story, but it's good to see VJ play well. All right, let's do some housekeeping. Be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mont on Twitter and TikTok, on Instagram at Philly Jimbo. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mont, and continue to spread the word as we grow this thing. Lots of good things happening as we're slowly doing some renovations and getting things in order and set up. Big things happening in the fall with the Eagles pregame show, kind of finalizing some of those details and everything. So stay tuned for that this fall. But be sure to follow me on all my social media. The Discord channel is live. Click the first link in the description. Come over and let's talk some Philly sports. And if you didn't check it out because of the holiday weekend, we did spend Fridays with AI. had a simulated roundtable discussion with some Philly legends on what it means to play in Philly. So go check that out. And if you did listen and you want the full transcript, let me know and I can shoot that over to you as well. All right. Way back on Friday at this point, seems like forever ago, we did have a 4th of July trivia. I asked, who is the major league leader in home runs hit on July 4th? That is Duke Snyder with 9 home runs hit on July 4th. The Phillies record is 3, shared by many guys: Von Hayes, Willie Puddinhead Jones, Stan Lapata, Ron Northey, Chuck Klein, and Fred Luteris, each with 3 home runs on the 4th of July. The active leader is Nick Castellanos with 2. Packing up the whole crew for a week down the shore? Don't waste your first day dragging bags and beach chairs. Let Beach Caddy do the work. With bellhop service for move-ins and move-outs, plus beach cart rentals in Ocean City, Avalon, Sea Isle, Stone Harbor, and Wildwood, they've got your back from driveway to dune. Stress less, relax more. Book now at beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your bellhop or cart rental services. Beach Caddy, because vacation should start when you get there. Best beach carts on the Jersey Shore. Book now at beachcaddy.app. Use the promo code Jimbo for 10% off your order and let Beach Caddy take the stress out of your vacation. All right, and for the rest of the summer, that promo code Jimbo will get you 15% off your move in, move out service, as well as beach cart rentals. So Beach Caddy, I'm telling you, best beach carts at the Jersey Shore. If you're going down, hit up Beach Caddy and use the promo code to take 15% off of your order. That brings us to July 7th. And what happened on July 7th? Well, one of the biggest things in Philly sports history happened on this day. Major League Baseball All-Star Game up at Shea Stadium. The Phillies were represented by Jim Bunning, Chris Short, and Johnny Callison. We all know the story of the 1964 Phillies. They were seemingly out of nowhere, leading the National League for most of the year. So the top 3 of their top players, Bunning, Callison, and Chris Short, got to play in the All-Star Game. Jim Bunning pitched 2 innings, had 4 strikeouts. Chris Short, unfortunately, blew the save, even though save wasn't an official category. He blew it in the 9th, but that led to the heroics of Johnny Callison, who went 1 for 3 in the game, but with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, hit the walk-off game-winning home run, a 3-run shot to give him the MVP award. So Johnny Callison continued the magic of the 1964 season on this day back in 1964, winning the All-Star Game for the National League with a walk-off homer en route to winning the MVP. And then fast forward to 1993, Phillies beat the Dodgers 76 in 20 innings. Mitch Williams was ejected after allowing the game-tying runs to be scored, arguing balls and strikes. Larry Anderson came in and held it down. And then they played another full game of scoreless baseball before the Dodgers broke through with 1 in the top of the 20th. But then it was Lenny Dykstra with a 2-run double in the bottom of the 20th to give the Phillies the win. He also hit a solo shot as the Phillies maintained a 6-game lead over the Cardinals in the NL East, heading into what would be the All-Star break. But that does lead us to today's trivia question. I'm going to stick with an all-star theme today. Which Phillies have hit home runs in the Major League Baseball All-Star Game? I already gave you one, but who are the other Phillies besides Johnny Callison to hit a home run in the All-Star Game? And then that leads us into our greatest individual season in Philly sports tournament. Way back last Thursday, we had a Sixers region matchup. The number 1 seed, Moses Malone from 82-83, took on the number 9 seed, Wilt Chamberlain from 67-68. And with 67% of the vote, it was Moses Malone moving on to face another Wilt Chamberlain season. So that will be later this week. But Moses Malone moves on. And today we have an Eagles region matchup. Number 2, Reggie White from 1987 takes on number 7, Donovan McNabb from 2004. Reggie in 1987 had one of the most dominant seasons ever by a defensive player. Only played 12 games that year due to the players' strike, as well as the replacement players coming in for 3 games. But in 12 games, Reggie White had 21 sacks, think about that number, would have easily shattered the single season sack record had he played even in one more game. If there was not a strike, Reggie White, no doubt in my mind, would have had close to 30 sacks the way he was playing that year. Also added 4 forced fumbles, scored a defensive touchdown en route to a Pro Bowl, All Pro season, and being named Defensive Player of the Year. And then Donovan in 2004, over 3,800 yards, 31 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 64% completion percentage. That was when T.O. came in and they just thrilled us all and finally got over the hump. Donovan added 3 rushing touchdowns and had a 13-2 record in games started during the regular season. Made the Pro Bowl, the Super Bowl appearance, the whole did he not throw up in the huddle? More and more looking like he did. But Donovan was outstanding in 2004. So now it's your turn. Whose season was better? Reggie White in 1987 when he had 21 sacks in 12 games, or Donovan in 2004 helped lead the Eagles to finally get over the NFC Championship game hump to the Super Bowl? Let me know. Back to the Future voice and text line 267-495-8531. Get that, anything else Philly sports related off your chest. Come over to the Discord channel. Hit me up on social media. Everything is fair game. But is it Reggie White from 87, Donovan McNabb from 2004? Get your vote in. And be sure, check out our friends over at Lotwin. Get your 3D custom hype chains. These things are outstanding, good for youth sports, bachelor parties, fantasy football is coming up. We're trying to figure out draft dates and things like that now. Go to lotwin.com, use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off of your order. On this day in 1993, Phillies beat the Dodgers in 20 innings when Lenny Dykstra hit a 2-run double in the bottom of the 20th. And then Johnny Callison named MVP of the All-Star game after hitting the walk-off 3-run shot to win it for the National League back in 1964. We'll have more on the Phillies Giants, even though I will not be watching that game because it's way past my bedtime. We'll update you on the Sixers Summer League. Can VJ Edgecombe continue to impress? Like I said, I know. I'm falling for it. I do it every year. I'm falling for it. But I feel like this time is going to be different. And that is essentially what Charlie Brown does with the football with Lucy. All right, this has been This Day in Philly Sports History for July 7th, 2025. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Monday. Remember to be a shark. And until next time, I'll see you when I see you.